Are you searching for cards on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or even watching live breaks on Whatnot or Fanatics Live? Like, are you doom scrolling on Reddit or even Alt or Veriswap looking for cards? If you're looking to buy, sell, or collect cards right now, I want you to stop and answer this question. Do you know why you're looking to buy and sell cards? Do you know why you're in this hobby to begin with? Because if you don't know the answer to that question, what's going to end up happening is you're going to spend a lot of money and get almost nothing back. Now, I understand you're going to have a whole bunch of cards. I have a lot of cards. These are all Wade Boggs rookie cards. These are all Barry Bonds rookie cards. This is a whole bunch of Don Mattingly cards. You have a whole bunch of cards that are worth X amount of money. The problem is that they're not actually worth anything unless you have a buyer that will give you the cash for those cards. In other words, all you have is a bunch of cardboard with pictures of men on it. You don't have real value. You just have unrealized value. So what I want you to do, if you are concerned about getting the most out of this hobby, if you want to know why you're collecting, this is what I want you to do. I want you to get yourself a pen and a pad and take notes in this video, because I'm going to show you a 3-step process that will help you figure out why you're in this hobby and also how you don't get left holding the bag of all of these cards with no value. And if you want to know those things, hit the subscribe button and also hit the save button, because you might want to watch this video several times. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Doc, and this is the video about knowing why you're in the sports card hobby. Yes, why do you buy, why do you sell, and why do you collect? Like, why do you have all of this stuff that, yes, is worth money, but again, unless you have a buyer at the end, it's actually not worth anything. And it's probably going to be a problem for anybody that you give these cards to. So if you give them to your kids, you give them to your grandkids, you give them to your cousins, neighbors, whoever you're going to pass these cards on to, I think you need to understand like what exactly is going on. So if you want to know why you buy, sell, or collect, I have a 3-step process for you. We're going to go over that in this video. But let's get to work. So I'm going to roll up my sleeves because this is going to be like work. We're going to learn in this video. So if you were not prepared to learn, then turn off and go to some other channel with an influencer who basically says nothing all day. Anyway, let's get your pen, let's get your pad, and let's start taking notes. So what is the first step in this process? And the first step in this process is how to evaluate your cards, or how to evaluate cards in general. So if you're looking for cards, how do you know what the value of those cards are? And this is a complex topic in the hobby, and it's not something that most people understand. They think they do, but they really don't. And the reason why is because if you've ever repeated this statement, the cards are only worth what someone will pay for them, you're in trouble. So if you've heard someone say that, or you've said it yourself, the cards are only worth what someone will pay for them, that's wrong. Now, here's the reason why it's wrong. Because there is value to your cards. All right, so I'm going to show you a card. All right, this is a card I'm actually selling. And I've been contemplating, and if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time in the last month or two, then you know that I've gone through these topics. One, should you grade your cards? What's the value of your cards? And how do you collect with intention? So here's a card, all right? So this is the 1970 Roberto Clemente. This is a nice card. Now, I've been considering, should I grade it or not grade it? And what you have to determine for yourself is, do you want to grade your cards or not? What's the value to me in grading this card when I'm selling it? And the answer is no value. And I know what you might be saying, but you want to sell the card. Don't you want to grade it so you know? No, actually, I don't. Because when I look at the grading numbers, the problem is that this card ungraded, it has more value than grading it. And the reason why is because I have to, if I go to PSA, I have to spend $27 on the grading, which means that I need to be able to make that money back in order to justify the grading. Now for SGC, it's only going to cost me $15 to get it graded, but then again, I also have to get the $15 back. And the problem is this card's just not worth that much. In this condition, right now, this card is worth 80 bucks. That's it. 80 bucks. So if I grade it, it would need to be worth probably $2 to $2.50 in order to make it worth it. So does this card, if I grade it, get to $200 in value? And the answer is no. This card in graded condition will probably be worth around 100 bucks. Therefore, why am I grading it? And that's what you have to start looking at as to what are the actual value of the card. So I came up with 4 ways to figure out how you can grade your cards, or like how you know what they're worth. So you have sales history, and I did this in a whole other video. So if you haven't watched that one, go back, watch that one. Basically, I go through what is the Michael Jordan rookie card worth. I go through it, watch it. Trust me, you really want to watch that video. So there's sales history, there's pop count, there's recent sales, and then you have comparables. So how do I know that this card is only worth 80 bucks? Well, because I have all the sales history. Now, the beauty of the Roberto Clemente 1970 card is that there's a ton of sales. It's awesome. In the instance that you don't have a card that has a lot of sales, like this one, the 1952 Mickey Mantle card, the 9.5 SGC, which sold for $12.6 million. That only has one sale. Why? Because there's only one of them in the world. Now, there are more 1952 Mickey Mantles, but there's only one 9.5, which means at that condition, there's only one. It's the one of the 52 mantles. The PSA 10, there's 3. So that's not a 1 of 1, that's a 1 of 3. And this is where numbers come in that you should understand. Now, here's the problem. New people that get into this hobby, and if you're one of those new people, you should pay attention right now. New people that get into this hobby get fooled into thinking that the last sale sets the comp. Let me repeat that. The last sale sets the comp, and that's wrong. There are 4 things you need to look at in order to evaluate the card. You got sales history, pop count, recent sales, and then comparables, the comps. It's just like real estate. It's not like a stock. It's more like real estate. You have to go into the market and look for comps. So that could mean other cards of the same player. That could mean the same set and seeing what the prices are doing. A great point is the 1986 Fleer set, okay, the basketball set. That's the one where the Jordan rookie is. Because the Jordan card has really risen up in value, again, I said in that video what it's worth. So go back and watch what I said. And those prices are still holding on. Like those are real prices right now. So if you go back and watch that, what happens to all the other cards in the 86 Fleer set? They actually go up as well because the Jordan is pulling them up. There are a number of rookies in that set. One of them being Patrick Ewing, which is the one card that I want from the set. I don't care about Michael Jordan, so I'm not looking for the Jordan card. Although I would trade for a Jordan card, which is one thing that I'm trying to do on Veriswap. This video is not sponsored. If you are not on Veriswap, I highly recommend you get on it. Use my code. You will get $15 free in trade credits. 100% free if you just use my code. I'm only doing that because I think you should get free money when you're using these apps. But anyway, the reason that I would trade for a Jordan rookie is because it provides more liquidity to my collection. For instance, these cards, okay, so these are all Don Mattingly cards, all right? Now, if you're a Don Mattingly collector, you're going, okay, that's great. So I'm going to fan them out. You'll see. There's a whole bunch of Mattingly cards. Now, the point being is, are they worth something? Yes. But do I have a buyer? No. And that's all that you need to know. Do you have a buyer in mind? If you don't, then you really need to know what your cards are actually worth. This is so important, and the reason where we get to know your why. Why are you in the hobby? Why are you collecting? If you're a Mattingly collector, great. That's a knowing your why. I love Don Mattingly, therefore I'm gonna collect things that have to do with Don Mattingly. That's great. I am a Greg Jeffries fan. Again, he was the player that I grew up with. I met him again as a teenager. I have a whole bunch of stuff. Let me just get this. Okay, so here we go. I've got this. So here's a minor league card. Here is his rookie card from Fleer. We've got his Donruss. I also have a Leaf rookie for him. Here's the Topps. Here's another minor league. And then this is a photo that I took at Shea Stadium of Greg Jeffries in one of his early games. Again, I took it and got it signed by Greg himself. In person, sat with him, and had a whole conversation. Again, as a teenager, that was the coolest thing ever. Coolest thing ever. Not only that, but he thought my photographs were amazing, which again, as a teenager, unbelievable. You're like walking on cloud nine. So anyway, so I have a personal connection, at least in my memory, to Greg Jeffries, which is why I collect his cards. I collect stuff. It's part of my history. It may not be part of your history, and you don't need to keep it. But that's what you have to figure out. Why are you collecting cards? Why are you buying and selling cards? Why? If this is a business to you, then you better know your numbers. You better know how to evaluate cards. Because if you don't know how to do that, you're going to end up getting into trouble. And here's my point. New people that got into this hobby. So Jeff Wilson is one. Mr. Wonderful is two. Both of them have overpaid for cards. Let me repeat that. Both of them have overpaid for cards. Jeff Wilson's best example is he bought the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan. He spent $500,000 on that card. Why? Because he saw the $750,000 sale, again, the outlier. Someone overpaid for the Jordan, and he saw that last comp and said, that's the new comp, because he thought that the last sale sets the market. That doesn't make sense. Anybody that has experience in this hobby knows that the last sale does not set the comps. But because he believed that, he saw the 750, so when he saw a card going for $500,000, he went, oh my God, I'm getting a deal. No, don't do that. All you're doing is wasting your money. Stop doing that. You're overpaying for cards. Now, Mr. Wonderful is a perfect example. He just bought this logo man, okay, for $12.9 million. He overpaid for the card. How much he overpaid, to be quite honest with you, I don't know. I haven't done the real research, but I can tell you it's millions of dollars. Because every expert, people who knew this card better and knew the basketball market better, I'm not that big on basketball cards. I'm much more of a baseball and hockey collector. So I don't really know the basketball market as well, although I did the research on the Jordan rookie because I wanted to make the video. So I needed to know, well, what is the market for this card? And so that's why if you don't know that one, go back and watch it. It is so educational and helpful for you. But let's get back to Mr. Wonderful. He overpaid for that card. Again, experts say that he overpaid by about $6 million. Did you hear the number? $6 million he overpaid for the card because he believes that the last sale sets the market. So if you see anything from Mr. Wonderful and he's buying up more cards, he's setting up an index, be careful because he doesn't understand that the last sale does not set the comp. It doesn't. The last sale does not set up the comp. If you learn one concept from this video, let that be it. So since the last sale does not set the comp, what is the card actually worth? And that's the point. Again, I don't know the actual value of that card. I can't say, but I do know that the value of the 52, the 9.5, is between 11 and $12 million. Now, here's where this becomes important. There are 3 people that have a PSA 10 of that card. They, the collector themselves, wants to say that card is worth between 30 and 40 million. Of course they want to say that because that means they have a 30 or 40 million dollar value, like an asset. Like they're like, yeah, I have a 30. The problem is there's no comp. There's nothing that says it's worth 30 to 40 million. There's nothing. It's just a fantasy number. So what is that card really worth? Well, if the 9.5 sold for 12.6, then realistically you could say that the 10 is probably going to go for around $20 million. That's reality. That's the reality of it. And I also did this in my last video as well. And again, some people balked at this, but here's the point. This card, which I have on Veriswap, all right? So this card is a pop 2. Remember, there's 4 things. There's recent sales, there's pop count, there's history, pop count, recent sales, and then comparables, okay? So this card, I say, is worth $2,000. And some people are like, no, it's not. It's only worth, let's say, $1,000. And I had some people say that. Well, it's only worth $1,000. Here's the reason why it's not worth $1,000. First of all, it's 2. There's only 2 of them. That's it. There's this one, and someone just bought one for $800 plus tax plus shipping, so it comes to around $900. Okay, so someone literally just paid for that card. Now, here's why recent sales are not the market. So it's a Joe DiMaggio. Now, in the hobby world, Joe DiMaggio is one of the safer places you can buy. Like if you're going to collect cards, there's a bunch of players that are safe because they're the icons of the hobby. Like they're icons in sports. Joe DiMaggio is solidified in the history of baseball lore. You don't have to worry about Joe DiMaggio. So that's not his rookie card. It's a 1951 Burke Ross. Now the interesting thing about it is that it's a panel. That means there's 2 actual cards that are connected. And the reason that's important is because you can see here, all right, these are recent sales of just the Joe DiMaggio, the single, the cut card. And as you can see, one of them went for $2,000. That's how I get the $2,000 valuation for the full panel. Somebody just bought it for $800. They did a great job. Honestly, whoever bought it, if you're watching this, you got a great deal. I thought this card, and I even have it, again, because I keep things, I had it. I thought this card was worth $3,000 2 years ago. That's what I thought based on the market. Again, remember, there's only 2 of them, and nothing had sold. So I had no recent sales to tell me, well, where is the market? And that's the piece. I was missing that one criteria. I had sales history, I had pop count, but I was missing recent sales. I only could do comps. And based on comps, again, all the players that are like him, Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. Like, that's the level that Joe DiMaggio is in. I had to go based on that. And those cards are going for tons of money, which meant that if that's the case, Joe DiMaggio needs to be worth $3,000. Okay, but I didn't have recent sales. Now we have a recent sale. Went for $800. So everybody out there that's new in the hobby is saying, well, then it must only be worth $800 because that's the recent sale. No, there's 4 criteria. There's 4 criteria. And pop count matters. There's only 2. So that sold for $800. That guy that just bought it is not selling it for less than $800. So that's the floor, at least, at the minimum. Second of all, probably not selling it anytime soon, because if they're flipping it, you have to double what they just paid for it. There's only 2. And they know now that I have the other one and I'm trying to get $2,000. Well, that's it. So if they want to sell it, they need to sell it under $2,000, which probably means that they'll sell it for around like $1,600 or $1,700 if they want to sell it. Because that's it. That's the market. That's where we're at. Hopefully people understand that. Now, when you have millions and millions of cards, again, this is the Barry Bonds. There are millions of them, probably the million of these cards out there. When you have a million cards out there, it's harder to, like, again, game the system. With the one-of-one that Mr. Wonderful bought, okay, the dual logo man, there's only one. That's a one-of-one. So he thinks he can set the market on that. The problem is that you have to look at comparables. You have to look at other logo mans. You have to look at other cards in the hobby. That's the most expensive card that's ever been sold. $12.9 million is the most amount of money that anyone has ever paid for a sports card in the history of the hobby, which means it's not worth more. It's already at its height. It's hit its ceiling. That logo man can never be worth more than $12.9 million. Unless someone else sells a card for more, then the logo man has an opportunity to increase in value. At this point, that's it. That's the ceiling. And hopefully everybody understands that. Hopefully. All right, let's get into number 2, okay? Because there's a 3-step process here. So the first one is how to evaluate your cards. Second step is knowing your why. Why are you in this hobby? What is your North Star? Why do you collect? I know that you're probably racking your brain going, well, I collect because I'm like nostalgia, you don't know why you're collecting. You don't know why you're spending all this money. Why are you wasting your money? Why? Tell me. Hey, I got all this cash here. Why are you spending money on cards? Why are you doing it? That's actually why I'm on Veriswap. That's why I'm on Veriswap, because I have all of these cards. Okay, so I'm going to show you all the Mac Jones that I bought. And this is going back. This is what, 2021? Yeah. So in 2021, I bought all of these Mac Jones. Okay? What am I going to do with them? What am I going to do with them? Like, I'm not spending the time. Again, time to me is way more valuable than money. Time is more valuable than money. So I'm not going to spend my time selling these cards. So what do I do with them? How do I get rid of them? So that's why I do bulk deals. Again, I work with dealers. If you're in the Phoenix area, there is a show coming up November in Phoenix at the convention center. It's the Arizona State Card Show. It's the largest show in Arizona. It's the big show. If you're anywhere near Phoenix, Arizona, come to that show at the convention center. DM me before and we can make a deal. Again, I do bulk deals where I sell a whole bunch of stuff for a really good price, usually 50 cents on the dollar. I have a lot right now that's $5,000 in value. That's real value. That means how much money you can actually get back if you sell it. What's it worth? It's worth $6,000. Again, understand the unrealized value and the actual cash value. There's a difference. So what is the unrealized value? It's a $6,000 lot that you could actually make $5,000 cash. Okay, again, cash from selling it. Now, I don't know how long it would take you to sell the whole thing, but I divided it up into stuff you could sell within a matter of weeks, like literally like 4 weeks. Within 1 month, you could actually make around $2,500 from this lot. So half of it you could sell immediately, which means if you're an investor, absolutely, you want to pay around $2,500 because you get your money back right there, and then the rest is profit. Do you see how this kind of works? And so that's why I try to put together bulk deals that work like that. How much can you get back within a matter of weeks? And that typically is what I can sell it for, because you want to get your money back out so that the rest is just pure profit. You don't want to be having your money tied up in cards. You don't, especially if you're buying and selling cards. You want to be able to pull your money out as quickly as possible so you can deploy that cash back to buy more stuff. That's why dealers like working with me, because I work out all the numbers and figure it out for you so you don't have to do any work. All you have to do is say, do I think I can sell all of this stuff? Again, as a seller, you have to know who your buyers are. And if you don't know how to sell stuff, then you can't buy. You can't buy from anybody. Forget about buying from me. You can't buy from anyone, because what are you doing? Basically, you're a hoarder by proxy. And I know I'm a recovering card hoarder. I had 8 million cards by the time I was 18 years old. I know, it's shocking. Anyway, let's get to number 3. And number 3 is you have to have an exit strategy. For my collectors out there, again, I'm a collector. What is your exit strategy? My exit strategy is I want a collection that's so manageable, that's small, that's literally not a big deal that it doesn't matter. I'm going to just give it away to whoever wants it. And maybe that's something we do on the channel as I get older. Maybe I do an auction, like a raffle, and somebody can get my collection. Who knows? All I know is that I want to consolidate it down to where whoever gets it doesn't feel it's a burden. Because literally your hoard is a burden to other people. The only one that has the real appreciation for the cards is you. It's the only person. No one else that you know that's in your circle cares as much about the cards that you do. You need to be aware of that. Get the enjoyment that you want out of it, but have an exit strategy. Figure out at what point do you want to let these things go. And if you're giving them away, start figuring out that plan right now. Who's getting what? If it's going to your kids, figure out which cards are going to your kids. Because one kid, like if you have multiple kids, like if you have 2 or 3 kids, one kid doesn't want everything. You have way too much stuff. I know you don't think that. You're like, well, no, but it's worth X amount of... No. It's not worth that to them. It's a burden to them. It only is worth something to you. That's why you have to know why you're in this hobby. You have to know your why. Don't kind of assume, well, I just collect because. That's not good enough. You're going to end up, if you do that, you're going to end up spending money that you don't need to. I have a ton of cards. I am definitely selling stuff. Like I had somebody on one of the videos, they reached out, they wanted to buy this one. Hey, this is the Jose Canseco Gold Star Set, okay? It is numbered to 1500. That is it. This is a true numbered set. I see one of these gold cards going on eBay for $10. Now, understandably, no one is buying it. Understandably, nobody's buying it because one card is not worth $10. They're probably worth $5 each. That's probably what they're worth. Now, how many cards are in this set? I would say there's probably 10 cards. So realistically, this is worth $50 in cash if you were to sell them all individually. So what do I sell it for? There you go. If it's worth 50 cash, I sell it for 20. End of story. Like, see how this kind of makes sense? So why would you buy it from me? Well, because if you're a collector, you're getting a great deal. It's worth 50, you're only paying 20. If you want to buy it to sell it, well, now you have room because it's probably worth 50. You could probably still sell it for 40 because it's worth 50 and you just doubled your money. There you go. That's how this works. So you have to have your exit strategy. What is your exit strategy? How are you going to get rid of your cards? If you have more than 10,000 items, okay, we're talking about cards, memorabilia, jerseys, pennants, okay, I got autographed, like people may be wondering what that hockey stick is. That's a Wayne Gretzky autographed hockey stick, okay? So all of that stuff, how am I going to get rid of that stuff? And that's the point. Well, I'm keeping this stuff mainly. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff over here that I'm still selling. I would like to be on Veriswap and trade it for other stuff. In many cases, I'm trying to do a PC. So I am trading higher end cards for lower end cards. Like I have up there, like you saw. So I have this up there. Now I've tried to trade it for Ryan rookies, for Roberto Clemente rookies, I've tried, but again, people don't want to collect some of the stuff that you have, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that. I thought about pairing that up with another card in order to try to get a Jordan rookie, but the problem is that anybody that has a Jordan rookie doesn't like baseball. It's just the way it is. You're going sport to sport. You have to know, how do I get into... Now, for Jordan rookies, the market is huge. There's plenty of baseball fans that have Jordan rookies in their PC or want one. So again, the demand for a Jordan is way higher than the demand for a Joe DiMaggio. I think everybody would agree with that. But again, you have to know your exit strategy. I would love to not spend any more money on cards, given the fact that I have so many cards still left to deal with. I would love to be able to give you guys more of the cards in exchange for the cards that I'm looking for. And we're talking about some low-end stuff, like, a Barry Sanders rookie card, Lawrence Taylor rookie card, a Greg Maddux Topps Traded, so that's the 87 Topps Traded rookie card. Like, some of these cards are not that big a deal. Like a 76 Gary Carter and a 79 Gary Carter. Those are only two that I kind of need for my PC. These are not big name cards, but I don't want to spend money on them when I have all of this other stuff. And that's where the real value comes from. If you have all of these cards, okay, what is it really worth? Well, if you could trade it, then you know what it's really worth. Somebody else may be looking for, oh, you know what? I want a whole bunch of Don Mattingly cards. What are all of these worth? To be quite honest, again, I haven't done the research, but if I were guessing, I would say there's like 25 cards here. I would say this is probably worth about $45. Again, in terms of actual value, it's probably worth $45. So what could you sell it for? Well, that's the problem. Now, could I trade it for? Yes, I think that's where the value is. I think I could trade all of this. If a Don Mattingly fan was interested, they might want all of these cards because they'd be like, well, I'm going to keep the ones that I want, and then I'll sell off the other ones for, again, the first couple are the ones that are only worth money. So the 85 is probably about $3 to $5 each. The 86 is again like $3, $4. So the whole thing is really right here. That's what the whole lot is worth, even though I've got the 87 in here. There's two of them. But, this is the headline card from I think that's 88 Fleer. This is 87 Donruss. Again, these are all junk wax era cards, so they're not worth all that much. But in bulk, you can actually collect and then sell a few off and get the money back so that you didn't spend that much to begin with. But if you do it as a trade, then you're not spending any money. You're just trading one card for another. And I think this is the new way that the hobby has to work, because I think that too many people have too many cards, and why are you spending money at this point? Why are you spending money? You need to know your why. So let's do a recap. The 3 steps. You have to know how to evaluate your cards. You have to know your why, and you have to have an exit strategy. If you do those 3 things, you're not going to get into trouble. You're not going to get into trouble in this hobby, and that's what I'm hoping for. If this video has helped you at all, please hit the subscribe button. Please think about sharing it with someone else that you know who's getting into this hobby right now, because again, the biggest problem that new people in this hobby have is that they think that the recent sale sets the comp. That's not how this works. There is a real way to evaluate the actual value of the cards, and that's what you need to know. If you don't know that, hey, go hit this video right here. That's going to give you how to evaluate your cards so that you know the answer, how you go through those 4 steps. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I will see you next time.